But you know what, I was thinking about something I was going to say to you, Kanye, that I thought was important. How you were down to earth and everything, but you know you got a lot of confidence. Come off a little arrogant even though you're humble and everything. But it'd be important to remember that the giant looks in the mirror and sees nothing.
If I called the last 3 years of Kanye hell on earth, I feel like that would be an understatement. It has been so many bad things that we kind of forget some of them. Like, remember Donda 2? That dumpster fire feels like it was a decade ago. But even after all that crazy shit that Kanye has done, some people are really out here holding out hope that he can turn a new leaf someday. And in the words of somebody that we once all loved,
ain't gonna happen.
Kanye's life in the public is a tiny little version of the human experience. We are all born pretty chill, like nobody is evil from birth. But the world is pretty damn ugly, and we're all a product of our environment, so eventually we become corrupted. We get phobias, we get anxiety, we become ugly little adults with time. And I'm not saying everyone eventually becomes a terrible person, but we all for sure do inevitably become flawed. And the only way to get over these humps is having self-awareness. Being able to look in the mirror and be like, what went wrong? When did it start to go wrong? Let's try to improve. Kanye has repeatedly proven that he cannot do that anymore. Because Kanye wasn't always like this. Now, he was always pretty crazy, and I'll get to that later, but there was a level of self-awareness that is just not there anymore. A lot of people say that the start of Kanye's spiral out of control was because of his mom's death, but when they say that, I think what they mean is Donda dying hurt Kanye's mental health so much that it started the domino effect, and obviously that plays a part, but I think what most people miss is that she seemed to be the only person Kanye would really listen to. Kanye was always extremely confident, but there's a line between extreme confidence that is healthy and extreme confidence that can harm you. Obviously, I don't know Kanye personally, but if you watch Genius or even the times he talked about Donda, it seemed like she was the one that kept Kanye in reality. I personally think the whole downfall started when Kanye's ego became too damn powerful, which to me was right after My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Before even Donda's death, Kanye was crazy, but honestly, it feels like being the type of crazy Kanye was in the 2000s is kind of fire. To me, it's the perfect type of crazy. It's the crazy we need a whole lot more of in the mainstream now. When you become famous, you are joining a corrupt tower that is above the rest of us normies suffering down here. But the average sane celebrity just goes on with their life and says things here and there when it's socially acceptable. But Kanye back then, he was not that. And it takes a certain level of not thinking like a normal person to do that. But to me, that's amazing. Kanye then is the equivalent to Kendrick now. If you think Kendrick, the guy who made the song You, is sane, then you might be as crazy as him. Kendrick talks about it in his interview with SZA, and side note, god damn it, I love that interview. I'm gonna keep talking about it in all these videos. But he literally calls himself mentally ill. In my humble opinion, it's no coincidence that the highest highs we've seen reached in hip-hop history are from both Kanye and Kendrick. Because that crazy brain leads to them thinking of things someone like, I don't know, chill guy J. Cole couldn't think of. And I'm not sitting here saying mental illness creates good art automatically. I'm saying thinking out of the box is most of the time what's gonna create those high highs. Someone like Andre 3000 is one of the most unique, mainstream, forward-thinking rappers I've ever seen. And that's even with his fashion. And a lot of people don't know this, but he's talked about having terrible social anxiety and not thinking in a normal way because of it.
This is Jeopardy!
Which one of these all-time great rappers lost their ability to be self-critical as time went on in their career? But like I said earlier, I don't think the good Kanye was gone immediately when Donda was gone. Even the Taylor Swift incident, this is still not beyond saving Kanye moments to me. Like, of course, it was fucked up, but his intentions were pure. Maybe I'm being overly charitable here, but I feel like this was Kanye being more mad at how award shows tend to favorite white musicians, and I'm more inclined to believe that than Kanye going up there because he's part of the Beehive. And obviously, still fucked up thing to do, but he was actually embarrassed by this incident. What was the last time we heard Kanye feel embarrassed or come even halfway close to taking real accountability? He was so embarrassed, he disappeared and did not want to come back into the public eye unless he had a classic on his hands. So he went ridiculously try-hard on his next album. This man had a dress code for his studio. But after all the scrutiny, all the build-up, in 2010, it finally drops. And it's immediately one of the most praised albums in hip-hop history. So y'all can let me know if I'm reaching here. You make an absolute fool out of yourself. All the attention in the world is on you, but if the music is good, you can get away with it. Oh, my bad. Let me read. You make an absolute fool out of yourself. All the attention in the world is on you, but if the music is good, you can get away with it. My bad, guys. One more time. Let me read this. You make an absolute fool out of yourself. All the attention in the world is on you, but if the music is good, you can get away with it. And if I'm reaching, then it would have to be a coincidence that the next time Kanye stepped outside after everything that happened between 2009 to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy was him calling himself a god. He went full narcissist after that, and he never really looked back. He realized he can get away with anything as long as the music was good. This quote is straight from the horse's mouth. In 2019, he said, "If every time someone asks you a question, you try to say the right answer, your entire life is a test." Which on the surface, great quote, but there's limits to that. Social calibrations exist. And the next thing he says, I think describes his downfall perfectly. I'm not trying to have the right answer. I'm doing what feels good. I genuinely believe him when he says that. As much as this man angers me, I don't really ever think he's lying. Not that what he's saying is true, I just think he believes what he's saying. He definitely adds a little extra pizzazz to get more of a reaction out of people, but Kanye probably believes 90% of everything he says in the moment. At least he used to. Now it's at a point that he's trolling and I don't even know who he is anymore. But I don't think outside of the last 3 years he was saying things he didn't believe and he was a liar or something. In fact, I think he was way too honest. Everyone has thoughts that we don't share because they're not appropriate to be anywhere but our brains. But Kanye's not everybody. And at first it was overly sharing his god complex and how horny he was and wanted to fuck all of his sister-in-laws. But again, the music was good. So the cycle continues, time passes, we let things slide, blah blah blah, Adolf Hitler. Because attention, whether it be negative or positive, for Kanye feels good. So here we are in 2025, when I see people saying he might change someday. I need you to realize how far away from progress this man has been for so long. If he had the ability to come back, he would have came back over a decade ago. And sadly, there's nobody left to help him because anybody that has tried to be honest with him, he just cuts off. And when the only one Kanye has left to save himself is himself, man, I'm genuinely scared to see how the rest of this man's life is gonna go. It is one of the saddest things I've ever seen.
You know, hip-hop really is about fighting for your rights in the beginning, about speaking your mind and about breaking down barriers or whatever. But everybody in hip-hop discriminates against gay people. George Bush doesn't care about black people.
This guy is like a little baby Tourette's, maybe not quite diagnosed. The truth just comes out like accidentally, like what's on the top of his mind.
I found out at that moment, nothing in life is promised except death. If you had the opportunity to play this game of life, you need to appreciate every moment. People don't appreciate their moment until it's past. Then you gotta tell those Al Bundy stories. You remember when
Looking at everything Kendrick is doing right now, it just feels like Kanye would be doing the same thing if he never lost that self-awareness. But instead of just speaking out in the music alone, he would be having wild interviews criticizing all the horrible things going on today. Like, man, Kanye would literally be extroverted Kendrick. It would be awesome. But sadly, we're here, and Kanye is instead the one contributing to all the horrible things going on today. I just wish we could see what Kanye would be doing right now if he didn't lose that self-awareness. I guess we'll never.
Donda, 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 Donda.